John Veneri for Catholic Family News, CFN Media. This is an off-the-cuff video I'm doing about Francis's new exhortation on the joy of love. There's a lot to say. There's one point I want to make that I haven't seen made yet, and that is the fact that this entire apostolic exhortation, coming from 2 years of synod, this is necessarily the product of a rich church with churchmen spending money like there's no tomorrow. I say this because when you read Cardinal Casper and you even read Pope Francis and others, they're always talking about a poor church of the poor. We have to have a poor church of the poor. This entire synodal process is anything but a poor church of the poor. Just figure how much it would cost you if you wanted to host 2 international synods of hundreds of bishops. You have to fly them in, so that's over 200 airfares. You have to feed them for 3 weeks. You have to house them for 3 weeks. That's only the first synod. Then there's the second synod, so you're doubling the price of that. We're into the millions of dollars here. And I'm not even talking about the huge bureaucratic apparatus that has to produce the paperwork tonnage of these synods. You have the working documents prior to the synod. You have all the mailings going out, supposedly getting the feel of what people are feeling and what they're thinking, incorporating it all. Sir Humphrey from Yes Prime Minister would call all this waste months of fruitful work. And that's exactly what it is. But it is a waste of money to produce this document, which is, you know how many trees died to produce the paper that the people are going to be printing out. I really want to send the Vatican a bill for printer toner here. But the point I want to make is, before, a pope would simply write an encyclical on his own authority. In other words, it was really more cost efficient for just the pope to know what he's doing, to know his theology, to be a true pastor, and just simply to teach. Encyclicals were a lot cheaper than all this. The point is, we're not talking about a poor church of the poor. We're talking about a gigantic fraud. They mouth about they want to care for the poor, but this entire synodal process is devilishly expensive. Millions and millions of dollars. Because the real point you have to understand here is the most important aspect of all of this is not so much the truth, and it's not so much teaching and protecting the faithful. The most important aspect is the preservation and advancement of the synodal process. The synodal process, which causes public scandal. If you remember, in 2014, the things that were said at these synods, the pro-homosexual midterm report sent out to the press, that damage has never been undone. Why is it allowed? Because synod dialogue demands that all these points be discussed. As Cardinal Baldisseri says, there are no taboos, nothing is off the table. So the synodal process that causes scandal to the faithful is more important than ultimately teaching the truth. We see the last synod, 2015, I was there for that. My friend Chris Ferrara and I, we were both there for that. And what did we see? We saw Archbishop Coleridge publicly saying in a Vatican press conference, and he was never corrected for saying so, that he thinks the church should do away with terms such as intrinsically disordered act, terms such as adultery, terms such as, I can't remember the third one now. It was intrinsically disordered act, adultery, and indissolubility. Because this makes things way too black and white. Okay, one scandal after the next. You have Father Rosica saying there should be more inclusive language regarding homosexuals. See, none of this scandal matters because it is all justified by the need for synodal dialogue. And what does it give us at the end? What did we have at the end? Well, when you have a pope like Francis, who has always been on the side of progressives, and he has been pushing for this further advancement of the Vatican II agenda, you end up with this thing, which has caused and will continue to cause unending scandal until some pope comes along and tells the truth about this document, that it is a fraud, that it is full of points that no Catholic should accept, especially the obvious point of opening the door that Catholics who are divorced and remarried can somehow be able to receive the Eucharist because of their particular circumstance while they continue to live in sin. Someone said that I think the Pope is walking on dangerous territory, dangerous ground. It's worse than that. Francis has actually fielded the church worldwide with landmines that are going to be stepped on and detonated by souls who will be destroyed in the process. So there's lots more to say, but my 2 points. Number one, whenever you hear Francis wants a poor church of the poor, this synodal process proves that to be a lie. This millions and millions and millions of dollars went into the producing of this thing. And secondly, remember, truth is not the most important thing. The synodal process is the most important, the most important alleged good, and all types of scandal and all types of statements contrary to the faith and that scandalize the faithful are permitted in the name of synodal dialogue. So that's 2 points of fraud that went into making this horrendous document, and we'll have more to say at another time. I'm John Venneri for Catholic Family News.